Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It is August the 4th, first pilot jam of August, man. And you know what I love about August is we're kind of heading into the back half of the year. So the heat starts to kind of like the edge comes off a little bit. And, you know, in Florida, the wintertime is actually kind of nice, a little windy, but it's fun to be outside. And I can't believe it's August. And football season is right around the corner. Speaking of football season, I want to remind you guys that I do have a son that plays football in school. And when football season's here, we shift the pilot jam to Saturdays. So keep an eye when it's time to do that and the football season gets going in full swing. We will be shifting the pilot jam to Saturday night instead of Friday night. And then after football season is over, of course, we will migrate back to Friday nights. So with that said, Robert, he made it in first, man. I think Fast Freddy did a drive-by and Hobie's out doing family stuff. So Robert made a run for it and got in first. So congratulations, Robert. Very good. Fast Freddy stopped in for just a moment, but he's going to go hang out with the family as well. Can I get a channel? How you doing? Make sure you say hello in the chat. And if I can get a audio check, I'd appreciate that too. Rambo Flight Ken is here. Hello. Tim is here. How you doing, Tim? Brum is in the house. Steven Cristofero is here. Hello, guys. Litterbug, let's roll. Yep, let's roll, man. You know where that came from, don't you? Philip Jang is here. How you doing, Philip? Glad you can make it. Oh, you received your laser cut test plane. Very nice. That was a long trip over to Australia. I'm glad you got that. Very cool. D. Griffiths says hello. How are you? Sergeant Pete 480, 112 degrees in Arizona. Yeah. I miss Arizona. It's a dry heat, though. In Florida, we have the wet heat. We are the antithesis of Arizona heat. It's still hot, but it's wet, and you get the dry. Stan Heaton says, hello, how you doing, my friend? T. Evans is here. Had fun at the Aerotow event today. Very nice. That sounds like an interesting event. William Tam is here. Hello. Sounds good. Audio's good. Pocket or boxer? That's a good question, Four Eyes. We're going to talk about that tonight a little bit. I don't know, man. That's a tough call, to be honest with you. Tough call. Hobie, good evening. Just checking in. Hope you guys have a great pilot jam tonight. And I know he's off going to do some stuff with the fam. So have fun, Hobie. I hope you have a good time. I hope you have a real good time. Flat Rat 3, hi all. Sounds good. Thanks for that. D. Griffiths gave me a sound check. Good. Keith is said, I'm here. Welcome, Keith. And Buttermilk 3696 says, sounds good in Lubbock, Texas. From the great state of Texas. All right. Can I get a channel? Wish you could read the live chat as it's posted rather than trailing behind. Yeah, man. It's kind of like I kind of equate this to being like the organ grinder, you know, playing the music and managing the monkey and collecting the tips and doing all that stuff. Jeff is here from Australia. How you doing, Jeff? I can kind of read it, but if I sit and read it, then the whole thing gets thrown off balance. It's just not good. Anyway, we have some stuff to cover. I have some interesting stuff for you guys tonight, and I'm going to break some news too that this is going to be broken here on RC Video Reviews, and I can pretty well assure you that nobody else on the planet knows what I know. One other person, one other human, and that's it. One other human knows, and that's it. So you guys are going to hear it first on the Pilot Jam because this is where the cool kids hang out. Anyway, let's cover the weekend review. We'll start out with the FMS-PA maiden flight. You know, I just have to tell you guys on the Cub, I have a very special destination for that plane. So I took it up, I flew it around, I did some basics with it, and then I got it back on the ground. And the reason for that is because we're going to give it to a young man. And I didn't want to damage the plane. I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to prang it off the runway. I wanted to give it to him in good nick, as our friends in the Empire say. Wanted to give it to him in good nick. So I took it easy on the Cub. And I know, you know, from a views perspective that maybe I suffer a little bit for that, but that's okay. I'm going to give it away. I want to make sure it is given to this young gentleman in pristine condition, almost brand new. So that's why I took it easy on the Cub. But I can tell you guys that flying the Cub, that's a gentle little flyer. Man, it was so easy to land. It's just insane. Those big bouncy wheels, they absorb the shock. The STOL takeoffs and landings were hilariously fun. I might have to get one of those just to mess around with that. And you know, again, I kind of want to dive it at the runway, like, you know, nose down, full speed ahead. Scotty, give me all she's got. And then pull up right at the end. I think it'd be fun. But that was a very cool little plane. I like the visibility. And, you know, just to wrap up on not Express LRS, just to wrap up on FMS, I have to tell you guys, I've been overall impressed with their planes. You know, we had the problem with the F-16, and I called it out the way I saw it. But so other than the F-16, so many of the planes that I reviewed, and I did a lot of their planes, have been pretty good. I think the other one that I kind of had a little bit of an issue with was the Flash, and that's not because it was a poor plane. It's just because it was a hot tamale, man. It was a fast mover, and because of that, with the gain on the Reflex V2, you couldn't adjust the gain. But outside of those two, everything else I would say seemed to handle really well. You know, the power was there, not exorbitant, you know, gushing level of power like you're going to see on that Extra 260 right there. That's a beautiful airplane, but it was sufficient. You know, it was adequate. It was appropriate is what I'd say. I hate saying the word adequate because that sounds mundane or, you know, just okay. But it's not, that's not my intention in saying that. It was reasonable, right? It was a reasonable mix of power on those planes. So I was pretty happy with the way they performed in general. So with that out of the way, the Cub, lovely little airplane. I think it's going to be a good performer. And if you're looking for maybe that second plane, like you've already gone through the trainer kind of phase and you want something that'll transition well into the next level, I think that Cub might be a pretty good option because it'll give you. So here's a little dirty little secret in radio control that you may or may not know. And that's when you're a beginner, you're probably a better pilot than when you're an intermediate. And let me explain myself. When you're a beginner, you're so concerned about not crashing and getting the plane up and down, and you're so focused that when you fly that plane, you know, you really pay attention to the little details and you don't risk too much, right? You don't risk too much. So you focus on getting it up, doing your laps, running your battery out, and then getting it on the ground. When you're intermediate, that's when you start getting a little big for your britches and you start trying stuff. you start trying things like diving toward the runway and doing stall takeoffs and, you know, doing all of those things that cause the crashes, right? And that's why I think the Cub might make a really good transition plane, because even though it's got it's not a symmetrical wing, it's asymmetrical, but it's got the big bouncy tires, and there's no dihedral. So what that means is that you can do some stuff, right? You can have a good time trying knife edge. You can try inverted. You can try building your repertoire of stunts in the air with that plane. And it's a good transition from a basic trainer, which basically, you know, trainer, what makes them good trainers is they try and fly straight and level, right? They're going to resist everything. They want to fly straight and level. That's a trainer. But you can see on the picture right there on the side, right there it is. Those wings are flat. So it has some stunting capabilities, right? You can do some aerobatics with that and not fight the plane the whole time. So that's why I say it's probably a good transition plane into something a little more advanced later on. And the big tires, of course, and the sprung landing gear give you the opportunity to, you know, work on your landings and try and stretch your envelope and not have to be exactly perfect every time to see where it goes and to develop your skills in ground handling. So for all those reasons, I think that's a pretty good little intermediate plane. And it's a good transition from a beginner to a more intermediate plane, like say a Dassault Rafale, which is, you know, that's definitely going to be intermediate to expert, but it'll help you transition to that level of flying. So there you go. That's it on the Cub. I overall very pleased with the plane. I wasn't let down by the power. I wasn't let down by the looks. I thought the stall handling was great. I thought the landing gear, you know, the big pneumatic tires was great. So overall, very solid purchase. Definitely recommend a buy on that one for sure, especially if you're in that intermediate space. Okay, then it was the Extreme Flight 67-inch, and man, you know, I put that plane together. It is ready to maiden. We're ready to go on that plane, ready to fly. And I have to tell you, it was, I mean, you know, they did so much of the work. What's left to do? You know, it was kind of insane that I got that plane done in an hour. But, you know, all you really had to do is add the gear, add the control surfaces on the back. You know, you had to install the horizontal stabilizer and get the servos connected to the control arms, and that was it. It was ready to go. Stick your radio in and balance it. It was ready. Easy going plane. Very, very nice. Lovely airplane. We're looking to fly it this weekend. So fingers crossed it will get out on Sunday. It will not fly on Saturday, at least on camera. I thought about actually going out on my own and maidening it on my own, and then maybe doing something a little more aggressive on Sunday, but we'll see. I don't know. You guys want to see the maiden? Leave me a comment. You want to see the maiden, or should I go out and maiden it first and give you guys something where I try and bring it out a little bit? Let me know what you think. Tell me in the chat window. Let me hear your thoughts on it. So anyway, yep, that one's ready to go, and a beautiful, absolutely beautiful airplane. Very excited. We've been talking a little bit in Discord about 60 versus 67-inch planes, and I got to tell you, man, I think 67s are kind of like the new 60, right? They're just a little bigger, a little more presence in the sky, a little heavier, a little more able to manage the wind. 6L 5000, fully capable of flying with those, so you get good flight time, and I think based on what I'm seeing, I'm just paying attention to the website. I don't have any inside G2 or anything, but based on what I'm seeing on the website, I think 67 is going to be a wave of the future, man. I think that's the thing. I think you ought to keep an eye out on those 67s for sure. So Hobie says we want to see it all, and thanks for hitting the tip jar, Hobie. That's very nice of you, man. I appreciate that. I love when you guys do that. Very nice of you. Thank you for doing that. Show it. You guys want to see the maiden? Okay, all right. I'll save it for the maiden. Hopefully Freddie will make it out. Dave's tied up, and Freddie's got some family stuff, but he says he can get out Sunday, a little later on Sunday. So Sunday would be the day. Maiden off screen and risk it on YouTube. Yeah, that's one thing about my channel, man. I've put all the risk out there, all of it. You guys, you just search my channel for Maiden, you'll see what I'm talking about, man. I've put it all on the channel. So I always take the risk on the maidens. Four Eyes, man, look at it. He's a good friend. He's a drinking buddy. Four Eyes says, whatever works for you, dude. Thanks, Four Eyes. Appreciate you, man. Okay, so that's it on the Extreme Flight. Very excited to fly that one. I think those 67-inch receiver readies, man, I think those are the wave of the future. Really, really convenient. All right, next up was the Pocket. Nice radio. We're going to spend a little time talking about this one tonight. We have some things to talk about on this one. Not a whole lot. Nothing earth-shattering, but a little bit of information. I got to tell you guys, the thing I think that I'm most impressed about on this one is the price point. $54 for the CC2500, $64 for the Express LRS, and it really legitimately is full-featured. I mean, it's a good grip. It does not feel... it kind of feels like a normal size radio in the hands. You don't feel the smallness. I can move the sticks around and feel like, yeah, okay, that feels pretty good. It doesn't feel like a little tiny thing, like a little joystick thing. It's a decent size, and the screen's bright, the speaker's bright. It's got enough buttons for a basic setup. So I'm really kind of surprised at the price point they hit. $64 with Express LRS. Think about it. Normally it costs you $30 just for the external Express LRS module. Right? 30 to 40. So $64, you're talking about $24 for the rest of the radio. Think about it. That's pretty impressive. I think it's pretty impressive. And I'll tell you, I had it on the desk and I was actually flying my helicopter on the simulator with it on the desk, and it works. No problems. I put the Express LRS module in Bluetooth joystick mode, paired it to my computer, fired up the simulator, bam, right there. Just worked, flew the helicopter around, had a good time. I am kind of impressed. I think they're going to sell a ton of these things. And I always think of travel. I think of travel. Like if you're going in an airplane and you want to bring along a cheaper radio so you don't risk your nice one getting nicked up in the baggage handler, this would be a good option, man. It's a good option. And it's not hateful to look at. I mean, it's different. It's got the translucent charcoal. You guys want to hear something funny? Radio Master sent me the blue case. I'm going to do a video showing how to transfer the internals to the blue case. But what's funny about it is I like this one better. So now I got to do a video showing how to move the parts into the blue one. And then after I'm done with that, I got to put the parts back in the charcoal one because I like the charcoal better. Isn't that hilarious? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it in the blue one for a little while. See if I can get people at the field talking about it. All right. I'm going to do the maiden on camera. You guys want to see it. When Freddie videos, exciting things happen. Hey, man, we don't need excitement. We don't need excitement on maiden. Maidens, to me, are supposed to be boring. I want maidens to be boring, boring, boring. So that's the deal. Maidens need to be boring. All right. Let's see. Let me go back to the desktop here. Put this back on. I'm going to turn that off for now because I bet it's probably sitting there messing with my Wi-Fi. I bet it is. All right, so show the maiden. Let's see. Always a chance for a smash up. Yeah, that's the thing about doing these videos, right? I guess if it's going to crash, I may as well get it on camera and benefit from that, because I hate crashes on maidens, especially on nice planes. All right, I have an FMS Super Cub 17. I love it. Yeah, that 17 looks pretty good too, man. I wouldn't mind trying one of those out. Maybe I'll get lucky and FMS will send me one of those. Great price for a backup radio, says Hobie. Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, or a trainer. You know, that's another one. If you guys have seen my videos on how to do the Express LRS loan a model feature, you could bring one of these with you to the field, throw it in your bag, and use this as the trainer radio. So if a buddy of yours wants to fly, you say, here, turn this on and hold on to those sticks. I'll let you fly. So that'd be another option. You know, they don't have to be completely familiar with the radio. If you're buddy boxing, right, they're going to be uncomfortable with the plane anyway. So it doesn't have to be their radio. That'd be another option, especially if you have friends that are not able to do Express LRS or, you know, one of your receive modes on your buddy box wireless system. That's another one I should have mentioned in the video. This would be a really good, you know, buddy box radio for anybody that you want to have fly at the field. Hey, and by the way, speaking of wireless buddy box, just for the record, last weekend, Fred and I went flying and I let him fly the MXS. In fact, Freddie was flying the MXS pretty much the whole day. I didn't even really fly it. He flew it. I think I took off and landed. That was it. And Freddie did all the flying on that one. So that wireless buddy box system, man, you can take a nice plane and let somebody fly it if you want. It's fair ball to do that. So this would be a really good radio for that as well. All right, let's see. That's cheaper than some. I know. Hobie says it's cheaper than some simulator radios, and I was thinking the same thing, especially since I've just done a couple simulator radios. I was thinking, man, $54 versus $49. That's yeah, a little bit cheaper. Curious about the Pocket. Yeah, Pocket. Everyone's curious about the Pocket. All right, so that's it. That was the Radio Master Pocket, and then obviously next up was the PilotJam. So a slow week with only 4 videos. What is that, 1.5 videos a day? That's still not bad. That's a pretty good run rate. All right, that is it for the comments, and that's it for the week in review. I've got some stuff. We have some stuff. We got some stuff, man. We gotta get into something here. We're gonna turn the Q&A off. That's not up now. I want to do this instead. I want to cover multi-protocol, and the reason this is a good segue into this segment because the Pocket Radio. Here's the Pocket Radio. You have 2 options with this, okay? You've got either the CC2500 or Express LRS, okay? 2 options. Now, here's the deal. They list, Radio Master says the CC2500 is multi-protocol, and I really wish they would come up with a different phrase for it. However, the reason I say I wish they'd come up with a different phrase for it is because when they say multi-protocol, a lot of people out there think MPM, 4-in-1, okay? So they think 4-in-1, and then they get it and they say, wait a minute, I can't bind this with my DSM stuff. What's up with that, right? So the problem is that they're not wrong technically calling it a multi-protocol module, because it is, and I'm going to explain that in just a minute. But here's the difference. In a true MPM, that stands for multi-protocol module, it's called a 4-in-1. That is the distinguishing factor between the CC2500 being referred to as a multi-protocol and a true MPM 4-in-1. It's the 4-in-1 part. That's the word you got to look for, okay? Because the 4-in-1 means there are 4 chips inside on the board. So the 4 chips involved are, number 1 is CC2500, okay? So when you get a 4-in-1 module, CC2500 is one of the 4. The NRF 24L01 is chip number 2, no particular order. Doesn't matter what order, so don't read me the riot act. They're not in alphabetical order or protocol order. I don't care. This is just about telling you what chips they are, okay? So the NRF 24L01, that's a second chip, 2 of 4 on this board. The A7105 is a third chip, and then the CYRF 6936 is the 4th. That's why it's called a 4-in-1. Now, let's break it down. Let's break it down a little bit. The CC2500 is not the same thing as a 4-in-1 MPM because it's just one of the 4 chips. See, this page, it's a 2500. It's only one of the 4, okay? So it's only one if it's not the same as a foreign one. It does technically support more than one protocol, hence the use of multi-protocol module, okay? The number of protocols supported by the CC2500 is a fraction of the protocols supported on a true 4-in-1 module with 4 RF chips in it. The 4-in-1 MPM has 4 different chips. The CC2500 is one of those 4, okay? I'm just trying to break it down because apparently this is a thing. It's apparently not well understood. So we got to go through it if it's not understood, right? Okay, so the first chip, let's talk about the CC2500 itself. This is the one that you can get. This is the chip, one of the chip options you can get in the pocket. It's the CC2500. They also sell, Radiomaster sells other radios with the CC2500 as well. I think one of the early TX16Ss might have been a CC2500, although I reserve the right to be wrong on that. Okay, so let's go back. The CC2500, here are the protocols you support. It supports FreeSky V8, X, D8, and D16. Okay, so if you are a former FreeSky user, or if you like the FreeSky receivers, say you have some S6Rs, maybe some S8Rs, maybe some X8s, maybe whatever else in the V8, X, D8, or D16 family, the CC2500 will allow you to bind with those receivers. Okay, it will also allow you to bind with a Graupner Hot, and I'm sure I butchered that. I'm sure the Germans will correct me. You can bind with Futaba SFHSS, not the other one. That's another question that gets asked all the time. Oh, it can bind with SFHSS. Can it bind with the other one, Fast or whatever the other Futaba? No, it cannot. Only Futaba SFHSS. That's it, not the other one. Don't read into it. Just because it says Futaba doesn't mean everything Futaba, okay? The next one is SkyRTech, I don't even know what that is. Corona and High-Tech. Okay, so if you have a High-Tech receiver, and by the way, here's another point. I did not list out every iteration of the protocol. So FreeSky, I listed the iterations. I gave you V8, X, D8, and D16. On High-Tech, there might be 2 or 3 iterations of High-Tech. You have to go to the multi-protocol page to look at them and find the details around what specific implementations of High-Tech the CC2500 supports. I mapped them out for you on FreeSky. You have to go do your homework and do the rest. Honestly, the reason is because I ran out of time. Long workday today. Okay, so that's a 2500. Whoops, wrong screen. Next is the multi-protocol module, the Nordic Semi NRF 24L01. This one supports High Sky, whatever that is. I don't even know. CIMA or CIMA. Now, that I've flown. I have actually flown a CIMA drone before, so that protocol is supported. Asan, I actually have an Asan dual channel. It's kind of like a master-slave radio connector. It's a T. Like it lets you switch between a master and a slave. So anyway, Asan and other Chinese models. Probably not highly popular in the hobby space, like hobby grade stuff. Okay. So that's the NRF 24L01. That's another chip on a 4-1. That's 2 of 4. 3 of 4 is the Amicom A7105. This is where you get FlySky AFH DS2A, and a Hubsan. That's not a typo, by the way. FlySky evidently had some stuff ahead of AFH DS2A, and I'm not a FlySky ninja, so I don't know what those are. I'm just telling you that on the multi-protocol module page, they do list them out separately. So apparently there was something in front of AFH DS2A that's worthy of being called out. So maybe it's old school. I don't know. Go look it up. If you really want to know, go look it up. I'm not going to look it up, so don't leave a comment. I'm not going to. You go look it up. I don't. It's fine. I'm only interested in AFH DS2A Plus. Yes, I'm fancy. And then Hubsan is the other one. And that Hubsan, I think you get that on some drones as well. Some Hubsan drones, right? Like the Hubsan Xeno Pro, right? The Hubsan Xeno Pro, that's a good example. And then finally, you get the last one, the Cypress Semi CYRF 6936. That supports DSM, DSMX, Walkera, and J6 Pro, whatever that is. I don't know what J6 Pro is. If you know, leave a comment afterwards. Let everyone else know. I don't know. Don't care. I'm not going to use it. I'm kind of a one-trick pony at this point. So J6 Pro, if you have some of those, you benefit by having the CYRF 696. 6936. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, so that's the difference between the CC2500 and the 4-in-1. On the 4-in-1, 4 RF chips. Of the 4, one of them is CC2500. Okay? All right, now I wanted to, because I was asked, ELRS is not part of NPM. I don't know that ELRS will ever be included in NPM. I would kind of like to see it if they replaced actually that CC2500 with a Semtech 127 or 128. Probably the 128. I think that'd be kind of cool. So in the ELRS space, you've got 2 chips. They're not on the NPM board. They're not on the 4-in-1 board. You need an Express LRS board, internal or an external module. Okay. So the 127X, 128X, those are the chips for Express LRS at 900 for the 127, and the 128 provides 2.4 gigahertz. And there are a couple of different modulation techniques. FLRC is known as fast long-range communication. So if you've ever seen that out there, that's what they're saying. It's FLRC is fast long-range communication. And then, of course, LoRa, which stands for long range, that's the really cool one that allows them to fly 30 miles away at ridiculous low power levels like 25 milliwatts. Okay, so LoRa is the other modulation technique on the Semtech RF chip. The Semtech, the ELRS is not multi-protocol in the purest sense of the word, but it does have different modulation or encoding options that the Express LRS team has taken advantage of. Okay, all right, that's it. Express LRS is not NPM. Don't confuse it with NPM. It's not NPM, okay? So that's it for the lesson on the 4-in-1. I wanted to cover that in some level of detail. I may end up doing a standalone video on that because I think the world could benefit. Those are the people outside the PilotJam. They might benefit from that one because I see these questions like religiously. And one of the big ones is, well, I bought a CC2500 and I can't bind with my bind and fly UMX plane. Why is that? Oh, because it's a CC2500. Well, it says multi-protocol. Yeah, I know. Well, this is BS, man. That's not right. I want to... Okay, that's the problem. That's why I wish they'd find a different way of saying it, because multi-protocol seems to inject some confusion out there. Although you can't really say that they're wrong, technically. It is technically multi-protocol, legitimately multiple protocols on a single chip. Okay? All right, so that's that. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on that because I know a lot of you guys are on Discord and you got to help a brother out. When you see people asking these questions, please answer them. Help out. It gets tiring. It gets tiring answering the same thing over and over. I'm counting on you guys, man. Get in there. Speak up. Don't be afraid. Now you know. And knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Okay. Let's see. That's it for the CC2500 multi-protocol. Next up, oh, this one. Okay. I'm doing this because during the week, I had more than one person say that the ER6 GV does not have, they called it an altimeter, not a variometer. And the reason they called it an altimeter, not a variometer, is because they couldn't find V-speed. And I thought, well, that's weird. I wonder why. And so here's what I've got. I've got this little ER6. This is the Radio Master Express LRS. Come on, focus. Work with me, camera. There it is. Is that good? The ER6 GV, okay? I have not modified this in any way at all. It's not modified. I haven't flashed them, done anything to it. This is the way I got it out of the factory. And the pocket is also, let me just show you. The pocket is also the way I got it out of the factory. It still says, oh, you can't scroll up there. But let me, come on, focus. This camera does not want to focus on the small text tonight. Let me back it up just a little bit. Maybe I have it a little too zoomed in. Are better? Yeah, that's better. Okay, so notice, hold on. I got to trigger Coyote Hello. Coyote Hello and I have been having a little bit of fun in comments, but I got to trigger him because he said the evil pointer of death is gone, and it wasn't. I did a video where I used a screwdriver instead of the evil pointer of death, and he said, yay, it's gone. I'm like, nope, it's not gone. It was just being substituted that day. Okay, so the version here on the Pocket, VRSS, is RM Factory. I have not flashed anything on this radio, nothing. Hasn't been flashed. This has not been flashed. I haven't done any flashing on anything, okay? So now I'm just going to turn it on, and when I turn it, before I do that, I'm going to back up, hit model, page left. We're going to go to telemetry, and I just want you guys to see the telemetry populate, okay? And I'm going to scroll all the way down here to this one that says V-speed. There it is right there, V-speed. Now all I'm going to do is turn it on. So here comes the power. And you see the light blink. And it should bind. And once it binds, there we go. There's V-speed right there. You guys see that? V-speed. It's right there. And then, so I don't know what to say. I mean, when it comes to discovering telemetry sensors, it's a fairly simple process. I mean, all you do, you can do delete all. I'll delete all. I'll show you. It's a fair, because I haven't used any logic yet. So I've deleted all my sensors. Okay, they're gone. See the sensor list right there is gone. it should be in between the words sensors and discover new. So if I just hit discover new, there's V-speed again. So, right, it moved to number 12, but there it is. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to tell people who are not seeing it. I just don't know what to tell you. Maybe a ticket needs to be opened with the Edge team, you know, or maybe the Express LRS team. But all I can say is that on my radio, and this is factory, it worked on this one, and it worked on a 2.8.4 build on my TX16S. In fact, just to prove the point, I'll show you. Let me bring that out. We're just gonna bring the TX16S out. I'll turn it on. And we'll take a look and see. Maybe I'll turn it on. Okay, throttle warning, altimeter on a switch. So let me bring up my telemetry screen. Oh, let's look at the system first. Okay, so this is 2.8.3. All right, 2.8.3. And I'm going to turn this off real quick. And then I'm going to go back into my telemetry screen. And I'm going to show you. I'm just going to turn. Come on, power, go off. Okay, we're going to turn power on the receiver again. I just reapplied power on the receiver. And hopefully it'll bind. There it is. So there's the bind. And then if I come down and look, there's V-speed on this one too. So that's V-speed right there. And if I move it up and down, it actually, you know, it moves. It's showing movement. So I don't know, guys. I just wanted to show you because there were two different people saying, hey, no V-speed on this. It's not actually a variometer without V-speed. It's just an altimeter. And my response to that is it has V-speed. I don't know what you're talking about. And honestly, I don't know how to troubleshoot that one. I know a lot about how to troubleshoot, you know, configuration stuff on these radios. But when it comes to that one, these sensors are pretty much automatic. So I really don't know what to tell you about that being absent. That if it truly is absent, after what I just showed you, I think you might have to open a ticket, perhaps, maybe. Not sure. You might have to get on the Edge GitHub and open an issue and ask. And you might have to ask the Express LRS team because frankly, I just don't know what to say. But it definitely shows up. There's no question about that. Okay, just wanted to show it and give you a look. Okay? All right, that's it for that. All right, I'm going to take a pause there, and I'm going to look at comments, and then we're going to get going. Hobie says a video might be good for the masses on the multi-protocol. I think that might not be a bad idea. So if you guys see that one post, maybe that's a good idea. Let's see. We made the local news, then we made national news, then Ken Heron's live stream. Is that for the whoop race for the Veterans Food Bank? Very nice, very cool, very nice. Veterans Food Bank. I like to hear that. Hobie says, here's the link for Discord. And I do want to, this is a good segue. I just want to make sure I say thanks to all my patrons. And I want to welcome the new patrons, especially, you know, thank you for stepping up and open up the wallet. I appreciate you. And I want to remind you, if you like what you see on the channel and you think you benefit from the content I produce and you want to help me produce content, one way you can do that is by getting on patreon.com/RC video reviews. And I have a tier for $3 a month. It's like a Starbucks. Hey, speaking of a Starbucks, I got one. I got a Starbucks. Oh, it's good stuff, man. I love Starbucks every now and then. I'm not like a daily drinker, but man, I like Starbucks every now and then. It's a nice treat. But anyway, for as much of a cup of Starbucks, you can help the channel. You can help me, help you bring more stuff to the channel. So if you want to help, $3 a month, RC video or patreon.com/RC video reviews. I greatly appreciate it. And for all of you who are already doing that, thank you kindly. I do appreciate you guys as well. So let's see. I'm looking for comments. 47 watching and 24 likes. Yeah, Robert's on the like whip. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, that is always very helpful. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. So yeah, hit the like whip. That'd be awesome. Or hit the like button. Robert's hitting the like whip. So I appreciate you. All right, let's see. I think that's it. I think that's it for the comments. So that's it for the ER6GV. Just wanted to show you guys that one. Next up, as a reminder, we are about just a week away now from a weekend of flying, the 12th and 13th. I don't know who exactly is going to be where and when, because, you know, I'm not the chaperone, but, you know, I've let people know, and I do expect some appearances. There are going to be people. It's going to be Dave will be there at some point. Fred will be there at some point. Shane, Tim, and maybe some others. So if you guys are interested in flying, August 12th, 13th, we'll be at the Larks. We, the group, will be at the Larks RC Field on the 12th and the 13th. The one thing I'd say about that, if you want to attend, you do have to have an AMA card. You have to have an AMA card that's current. And because the reason is it's an AMA field. It's not my rule. Personally, I don't care, but that's the way it works. So if you'd like to attend, it's going to be a full day of complete screwing around on Saturday and Sunday. So feel free to join if you'd like to, if you're local or in the area, or even if you want to make a little road trip inside the great state of Florida or elsewhere, you are welcome to attend. All right, so there we go. That's it for the 12th, 13th. I just wanted to throw that out there. Robert said that plane's Robert says that plane's a bit of a pig at 8 pounds there, John. Is it? Is it? But you know, Extreme Flight has some magic when it comes to aircraft weight, because you can fly them even if it's a little windy. And that's one of the reasons I really kind of went away from PA and went into Extreme, because PA, obviously spectacularly good airplanes, super light, you know, very cool looking, excellent graphics. You know, their build quality is spectacularly good, but they're so maniacally focused on weight that flying in the wind, especially in the winter around here, can be challenging. So that's kind of why I went for the EF stuff, man. I like a little bit of a little meat on my bones on my airplanes. What can I say, man? All right, that's it for the August 8th and August 12th through the 13th. And by the way, it will be both days. That is a Saturday and a Sunday. So it'll be both days. So if you're in the area, come on by. Well, it looks like I dripped my Starbucks condensation on my screen there. That's not good. Now let's shut that off. All right, next up. I don't see the David Knutz here. I don't know if the David Knutz is here or not. But anyway, let's just let's cover this real quick. We're not switching, huh? We're not switching. Overhead camera. I just needed to cover this real quick because I told you guys last week I was doing a giveaway. Mrs. RCVR opened an Etsy shop. She's posting some earrings. And, oh, by the way, she made some new ones. These are no resin at all, a little bit cheaper, no color, just walnut with gold hardware. These are the resin ones. But anyway, I told you guys last week I was helping the missus out to help her, you know, store, get some awareness. So go visit her Etsy store. Link is in the description. But I also said, you guys asked if I would do a giveaway. And I said, sure, I'll do a giveaway. So we're giving away a set of earrings, and David Knutz won. So David, you need to get yourself on her Etsy store. Links in the description. Get on her Etsy store, pick one of the colors, send me an email, tell me what color you want, and I'll send you the earrings, okay? And for the rest of you, you want to do something nice for your missus or your girl or your significant other or for Freddie, you can buy a set of earrings on the Mrs. RCVR Etsy store. They're like, I don't know, 15 or 16 bucks. I forget. I don't know. Go check it out. RCVR store. David Knutz won. So his wife gets a brand new set of earrings courtesy of my wife. That's the way that works because David entered. And as far as I know, he was the only one. So congratulations, David. You got yourself a set of earrings for the missus. Go ahead and pick out a color and tell me which ones. Do not pay for them on the Etsy store. I'll send them to you free. Just tell me what color you need and I'll take care of the rest. All right. All right, David. Good job. Yeah. Hobie says, "Congrats, David. They'll look great on you." I know, right? Maybe Dave's a pirate. Maybe Dave's like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, man. Maybe he needs a set of earrings. You never know, and that's fine. I'm not judging. That's what he needs. That's what he needs to do in his life. I'm okay with that. We're not judging here. We're just it's all good. So there you go, David Knut, the David Knutz from the great state of Texas, got himself a set of earrings. Dave's wife doesn't wear earrings. See, yeah, Robert knows. I'm kind of curious now, Dave. What are we not knowing here? It's all right. It's all right, man. If you want to wear earrings, I'm all right with that. That's your ear, your money. Make yourself happy. All right, Q&A. Q&A is up next. We're going to go back to the blackboard, and we've got some Q&A. Where is it? Q&A. So, in case you don't know, every now and then I get questions on the channel, and when I see questions that I think might be interesting to different people, I'll try and bring them up on the Pilot Jam and cover them. So this one was Mainline Hiles. He says, "I just got my ER6 GV set up today, fully expecting to find a V-speed sensor on the telemetry screen, but there is not. There's only an altitude readout, no vertical speed readout." So we just covered that, and that's why. This was one of the questions. I thought, man, we have to show this so people can see it's not a fluke, right? It absolutely does. There's something else happening, and I don't know what it is. So you're going to need smarter people than me to help you with that one, but I just wanted to cover that, yes, it is 100% an altimeter, or I just fell for it. It is 100% a Vario because it has the altimeter and the vertical speed. We just showed that on video. All right, let's see. Baba Black Sheep, man, that's a great movie, right? Great series, great television series. What was that, from the 70s, 80s? Somewhere in that time frame. I think the 80s. That was Robert Conrad, man. I remember that show. That was good stuff. What's the refresh rate on the ELRS version? Does it go up to 1,000 hertz? That was a question about the Pocket. And so what we will do, just to prove it out, is we're going to bring up the Pocket, and I'll let you guys see, because I realized in the video, subsequent to the video, I'm going to zoom in. I realized that I didn't spend any time looking at the ELRS parameters on the radio. So in absence of doing that, let's cover it on the Pilot Jam. So the way we'll do that is we're just going to hit the system button, and then that brings us right to the Express LRS Lua, and I will load that up, and he has the refresh rate, which is really the packet rate. So I'll highlight that field, and we'll just change it. There's 500 hertz. There's D250. There's D500. There's F, or FLRC, the fast rate. That's 500. And there's 1000. And then we go back to F, or we stop there. And then we scroll back down, and we can go back down to 333 where I started, 250, 150, 150 hertz. Sorry, 100 hertz and then 50 hertz. Okay, so all of the standard packet rates are supported. To me, for a fixed wing configuration, that 333 is very important. And then the other one, the TX power, this one goes down to 10 milliwatts, which is actually kind of cool. And then it peaks out at 250. And the reason for that is no active cooling on this one. This is passive cooling only in there. No active cooling. So 250 is the peak if you're on passive cooling. And I got to be honest with you, they're flying like 30 kilometers away at 25 milliwatts. So I really don't see any use case where you need anything higher than 250 for an entry-level radio that's probably going to be line of sight. But, I guess if you're doing the long-range stuff, you could always add the external nano very easily if you needed to do 1000. All right. If you wanted this form factor, get the CC2500, add the external nano, Bob's your uncle. Now you've got Fly Sky. No, I had it right the first time. You got Free Sky, and you've got Express LRS up to 1 watt, and you get the form factor you're after. So just throwing it out there. That's the option. Okay. Okay, that's that for that one. Let's go back to the blackboard. I just wanted to show you guys the things that I didn't actually show you on the intro or the review for that radio. All right, so that was the refresh rate on the ELRS version. All right, Peter Hogstrom, 1636 says, "Hi, John. Thanks for all your education on OpenTX and EdgeTX. One question. Is EdgeTX so stable now that it is worth the work of changing from OpenTX to EdgeTX for flying airplanes? I'm only flying Warbirds on my TX16S Gen. I don't have touchscreen. Very interesting question. I would say that if you don't have touch and all you're doing is flying Warbirds, I don't know that you necessarily get a software-based advantage moving to EdgeTX. Now, there are improvements to EdgeTX that are kind of under the hood. Like, you know, they've implemented new real-time operating system. They've added speed and latency improvements. They've added model management improvements like labels. They've added YAML, so human readable if you want to do text-based manipulation of your model configurations, you can do that. They've added the themes, right? And I think there's probably some logical switch, maybe some curve cleanup stuff. You know, so they've added some things that may not be present in OpenTX. But I would say, you know, based on the use case that he is identified, I would say, well, you know, it's kind of a toss-up. If any, you'd have to really go look at the change log and see, you know, if the list of improvements that aren't related to touch are impactful to you or not. That's the only real way to answer that question fairly. Now, regarding the other half of the question, is it so stable that it's worth changing? 100% yes. I fly everything I have on EdgeTX, and that includes my large airplanes, my large format airplanes, my large helicopters. I fly everything on EdgeTX, and that's all I'm going to say. you guys understand karma. I don't want to get into a losing battle with karma by saying anything more than that. All I'm going to say is I fly everything with EdgeTX, and that's a fact. No opinion there, just a fact. So I'm happy with it. I'll put it that way. So that's a good question, fair question. All right, number 4, Mr. Frankie 786 says, I installed the LED on my Radio Master Boxer Clear, but it's annoyingly bright. Is there a way to add a switch in the global functions menu to toggle the LEDs on and off when required? Please respond. No, that's the answer. The very direct answer, is there a switch in global function to turn LEDs on and off? The answer is no. However, I went and thought about it for a little bit because you guys know, I'll turn this one on. I'm going to turn my radio on and I'm going to switch over to the big camera and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to zoom out just a touch so you guys can see everything that's going on. So I have lights on mine and I turn those on right there. So I put in one of these latching momentaries and I have a video on the channel on how to do that. So for me, that's the easiest thing. It's just so easy to do. And it's kind of cool, man. I think that's like pimp my radio, right? I mean, I got bling, man. I got this red momentary latching thing. It looks fancy. Nobody else has that. Mine's pretty fancy. I can turn my LEDs on and off. Now, that said, there is something else I want to show you. And that thing that I want to show you is that they did add a little trick. It's a party trick in here. And after I thought about the question a little bit, the answer to his question is a straight out no. There is no way to do it in a global function. However, they did add, I got to trigger Coyote Hello in here. They did add a software switch for power on the aux port. Just throwing it out there. It says right here, port power. If you turn that on, what that does is it activates power on these 2 pins. If you cross those right now, it's going to short. Okay. Now here's the deal. If you take the case apart, you could solder the leads for your LEDs to the positive and negative pin there, and you could use that switch to turn those LEDs on and off if you wanted to. I'm just saying you could do it. Now I checked the voltage. I don't remember what the LED voltage is. I think it's 5, might be 3. Work the voltage out yourself. If you're that dedicated, that's the answer. Okay. But you could manipulate it via software. And here's a vote I would have for the developers. I'd love to see a special function to turn on aux1 port power. How about A1PP, on with the special function, right? That'd be pretty cool because then you could use a special function, maybe your logic, to turn your receiver on and off when you turn on trainer mode, right? You turn on trainer, turn the receiver on. whatever, there's some options. It obviously can be done in software. So if it can be done in software, I think it'd be kind of cool to have a special function or a global function to be able to do that as well. Then you could turn on port power with a switch. You could say, well, I'm going to use T2 down or T6 up, and I want to turn on my port power. I think that'd be kind of cool. That's my vote. Just throwing it out there. All right, I'm going to check comments here. Let's see. Robert Conrad, it was filled with Hesley Canyon just outside the Mojave Desert. It was filmed in Hesley Canyon outside the Mojave Desert. I know because I used to live there. Man, I'm jealous. That would have been cool to see. Get your pocket rocket ready. There we go. Yes, the 80s. A good series in the 80s. Is 333 the best to use? That's what I've been using. Well, it depends. It depends. Midwest RC says, is 333 the best to use? That's what I've been using. It depends. I mean, you can use 333 8-channel and get a full 333 hertz all the way through. I've kind of covered this chain of custody concept with resolution. If you use CRSF all the way from the output on the radio through the receiver into the gyro and out. If you have a gyro that is configurable on the PWM duty cycle, like A3 Super 4, you can actually set that to 360. So you can maintain 333 all the way through. It kind of depends. I got to be honest with you though, Midwest RC, I think a lot of people put way too much stock in that, to be perfectly blunt. I bet you for most cases, if you set it to 100 hertz, you'd be just fine. Just throwing it out there. Robert says, what is the actual module, not ELRS, for the pocket? The actual module, it's just it's a CC2500 chip. That's it. It's not a module. It's a chip. All it is a daughter card with a single CC2500 on it. And the reviews that said it is 4-in-1, they're wrong. That's wrong. Patently wrong. It's not a 4-in-1. You've been misinformed. Not you, they. I know you know what you're saying. I know you know, Robert. I'm saying they're misinforming. It is absolutely not a 4-in-1. It's a CC2500. All right, which is technically NPM, but not 4-in-1. Yep, multi-protocol. We really shouldn't say module. It's a multi-protocol chip. That's what they ought to call it, an MPC, multi-protocol chip. Because a module, when you think modular, that uses 4 chips. And I kind of think of modules like this. This to me, that's a module, right? That's a module. If you're an internal board, I don't really think you are a module. I think you're a chip, right? So Express LRS, the ELRS module inside isn't really a module. It's really an Express LRS chip. It's on a board, but it's a chip. Midwest RC hit the tip jar. Thank you. Yeah, for confirmation prompts. Oh, you read that, did you? Yeah, we were having a little go on confirmation prompts in Discord, and I am a staunch stop asking me to confirm stuff advocate. I know there are people out there who think differently about it, and that's fine. It's a free world. Have your own opinions, but man, confirmation prompts, I just want them all turned off. The only ones I want on are the ones I want on, not the ones somebody else needs on. That's my thing about it. I hate confirmation prompts unless I turn them on. One example of that might be if I'm going to fly an airplane that's got return to home. It's a good idea if you got return to home to make sure because this is my return to home switch, to make sure that's off, because the last thing you want to do is power a plane on, have it take off. But see, that's the thing about confirmation. Everyone has their reason for wanting it. My deal is I only want the confirmation if I decide I want it, not other people deciding they want it. That's the difference. So that's how I think about the problem, right? And part of the reason for that logic is because look at all these switches on this radio. Do you want a confirmation for that? What about for that? Should we have a confirmation for that? What about for that or that or that or this? Should I confirm that? Should I confirm this? You see what I'm saying? Where does it stop? Stop doing confirmations. Let the operator decide what needs to be confirmed and make those confirmation options available on the radio, and let the operator determine for themselves what needs to be confirmed. And, people will say, well, people make mistakes. I got news for you, man. You're in aviation. You're flying a craft. You got to own it. When I was getting my pilot's license and I was flying the plane and my instructor asked me to do a maneuver, I did the maneuver and it didn't work out all that well. And I looked over at her and she looked at me and she said, what? Fly the plane. You think someone's coming here to save you? Fly the plane. And that's my attitude about confirmations, man. You need to know what you're doing with your radio and you need to fly the plane. So that's why I don't like them. Don't ask me to confirm stuff, man. I hate it. So turn that crap off. Fly the plane. Own your radio. If you need a confirmation your throttle lock is on, then configure one. Go into the model settings. You can go into the model settings and do it. I'm not saying I don't think we shouldn't have the ability to turn stuff on, right? That you can turn on whatever you want. I'm cool with that. By all means, do that. But stop doing it generically with the excuse of, but some people make a mistake. Don't care. Fly the plane. What are you going to do? You got your throttle disarm. You add the throttle. Should you have wait, hey man, hold on a second. You're about to apply power. Are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, I'm sure I want to do that. That's why I turned the damn throttle cut off and advanced the stick. It's not a mistake. You know what I mean? That's my point. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. You got this thing all the way over to the right. Are you sure you want to go inverted? Wait a minute. You're upside down. Are you trying to do a flat spin? Stop asking me questions. Just do what I say. Do what I say. Stop asking me. I don't want to be protected by my radio. I'll protect myself. Thank you. That's my attitude about it. And I know, people have different points of view, and that's okay. That's my point of view. And by the way, that's not going to change. So, and it all started with Windows, because on Windows, you say shut down and Windows says, you just hit the shutdown button. Are you trying to shut down? Why, yes, I am. Okay, I'm about to shut down. Yes, okay, please do. Please shut down. Hey, there's a couple of tasks running. Do you want me to kill those tasks before I shut down? Yes. Kill the tasks and shut down. Okay, I'm trying to kill the task, but this task doesn't want to die. Should I still continue shutting down? You know what I'm saying? I just want to, I want to take my pointer of death and stab it through my monitor screen when I hear that, right? Stop asking me questions. If I say shut down, turn it off. Turn it off. Just turn it off. I don't want to have a discussion with you about shutting down. Here, look, here's my favorite one. All right. There's no confirmation on this. Watch this. Oh, I'm out flying my plane around. There's my throttle. I got my, I'm going to turn. Whoops. I just shut my radio off. There's no confirmation for that. If there's no confirmation for that, why do I need a confirmation for anything else? You know what I'm saying? Just let me operate my radio. Stop protecting me from myself. But make the options available for people who might want to add them themselves. That's my point, right? I'm not saying confirmations are bad. Don't mistake what I'm saying. I think there's a definite place for confirmations on these radios, but leave it up to the pilot. Don't reduce us to the lowest common denominator, right? I don't need that help. I don't want that help. Don't reduce me to that level of help. I don't want it. Okay. All right. That's it. That was my trigger. Who said that? Who got me started on that one? Where did that go? Confirmations? I don't know. I don't know who did that. Someone triggered me. Let's go. Let's see. Captain Bryce says, I file all my stick movements in triplicate to the home office. There you go, right? You're from the military, aren't you? You're from the government and you're here to help. This is Captain Bryce. I file all my certificates with the home office in triplicate. Very nice. Turn that stuff off, man. Stop asking me to save myself. I don't want help. I just want to fly my plane without being pestered by my radio. And I want to use my computer without having a discussion with it. One of these days I'm going to end a PilotJam just by reaching over and unplugging the PC. That's the way I see power down. Like, I'm just going to reach over and unplug it. Say, when I say shut down, I'm not asking you for a vote. Okay. When I say shut down, shut down. Stop asking me questions. All right, there we go. Windows is still like that. Yeah, it is, man. Windows every time. And it's funny, on Linux and Mac, you can issue a command called shutdown -R now, and that's it, man. That's it. Computer's off. That's it. Everything gets killed. It's over. And R reboots it. So there are commands in Linux. You can say, when you say shutdown in Linux or in a Mac, they're like, okay, that's the end of it. It's over. It seems like I'm holding back, says Robert. Yeah, I know, Robert. Well, like I said, certain things trigger me, and that was one of them. Mark Drury, hey, from the UK, I'm watching from the beginning, just woke up. Well, thanks for joining us, Mark. 2:00 in the morning, right? Update. Let's see. Can I get a channel? Stupid as, what time of flying you doing? Just curious. Was worth $4.99. $4.99. Yeah. Midwest RC did it. Confirmation props. That's pretty funny, man. There it is. There it is. That's how he got me to see it. Very funny, man. See, I'm getting work. It's the puppets, the puppet master, Midwest RC. All right. Let's see. I'm looking. Midwest RC says triggered. Yeah. Confirmation props. Make me nuts. That was worth the $4.99, says Hobie. Alt F4. Yeah. Alt F4 will do it too. Can I get a channel? Stupid. Okay. You guys are still chatting. Okay. We'll move on. That was good. Let's go back. We're still on Q&A. Let's get back to Q&A a little bit. That was a trigger. Funny business. All right. Torero says, I think my second favorite transmitter only after the TX16S, but the price is crazy. It's the best transmitter for beginners. Obviously, if nothing happens with time, we'll see. Yeah, obviously, in my case, I'm kind of, I don't know. I really don't know if I'd fly with this. Maybe a quad. My problem is I don't want to have so many radios. That's my thing. I don't want to have too many radios because I've actually shown up at the field and forgotten the right radio. I went to fly helicopters and got there and didn't have the helicopter radio. So no helicopter flying that day. So that's why I try and minimize. But yeah, if you can keep track of them and you want it, I think this is definitely going to be a solid seller. I just think it makes it. I think one thing I'd really like to say thanks to Radio Master for is making the hobby more approachable. That's the gratitude I have when they produce products like this, because this is a legitimate full feature. Like there's no reason you can fly any airplane you have with this. You might run out of some switches for the more complex configurations. Like, if you got complex mixes or, if you got LEDs and landing gear and flaps and all that stuff, it could be challenging to get that configuration on here. But outside of that, for a basic airplane, absolutely no reason that this is not a very approachable radio for people new to the hobby. Excellent radio. And that's why I think that they will actually sell a great deal of these. I think it's going to be a big seller, to be honest with you. And the quality seems reasonable. Screen's bright, volume's bright, buttons feel good. The firmware is impeccable. The radio firmware, if it's Express LRS, is impeccable. I mean, what else can you ask for? You can use this little radio to fly 30 miles away. No problem. 20 miles. Fine. 10 miles. Fine. Call it 10 miles if you want to be picky. But certainly a long way. A lot longer than line of sight. That's for darn sure. So yeah, Torero, I think a very, very good transmitter. Coyote, hello. Here he goes. This is the one I told you we were having a little fun in comments. A little bit of elephant snot. Great video. I'll stick with my TX16S, but this would be a nice little radio to carry around. Just a small plane for fun. Yeah. Throw it in the car, man. Throw it in the back. Throw it in the SUV. Put it in your storage compartment. If that way you get a flight in, maybe you leave a plane in the car. You go flying whenever you want. Here's where he said the evil pointer has been replaced by a dangerous Robertson screwdriver. So no, the pointer is back. The pointer... This is my graphene, man, and I like this thing. It's a nice little pointer. By the way, if you don't have one of these, if you do a lot of writing or sketching, these are really nice. There's a little eraser up here on the top. It's a graphene. It's graphene, Graph Gear 1000 by Graphene. Pentel. Graph Gear, not graphene, sorry. Graph Gear. Are you going to focus or not? There it is. Graph Gear 1000 by Pentel. They're nice. You can get them on Amazon. I like it. I'll put a link in the description if you want one. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So no, not gone. It was just on hiatus that day, Coyote. Sorry, dude. It's been a fun little banter on that. I've been enjoying that little bit of fun. Peter said this is Peter from the Edge team. He said this has been a great radio to have when I was first flying with cheapies like the Cheerson CX10. If I didn't need the NRF 24L01. Oh, see? This is what happens when you hang around developers. Let's go back. Let's check the tape, shall we? We will check the tape. Somebody knows about the different chips. This is why we talk about these things. So Peter specifically referenced if I didn't need the NRF 24L01. See what I'm talking about? You guys got to understand the architecture. Peter clearly understands it. So to go back to his comment, he said this would have been a good one to have if I didn't need the NRF 24L01. See the reference there? Now it all starts to make sense, man. Like the lights click on. It's good to have a cheap entry level, but still fully featured radio. I agree. That would be great for beginners. They can get rid of the often pretty useless transmitter that comes with their model and move on to something that actually has usable gimbals and the like. Yeah, it's a perfectly valid comment. And it is the thing that struck me. In fact, that's why it's in my title. This is a entry radio with a full feature set. So that's the thing that really impressed me about the radio. That is actually in the title. It says full featured radio at an entry level price. It's hard. Like, what the heck, Radio Master? Is what kind of witchery magic witchcraft is this? I mean, it's just, I don't know how they do it, man. Maybe it's a loss leader. Maybe they're pumping them out there to get the brand. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you. But $64. I mean, how do you argue with that? I mean, it's hard to argue. And I think Peter pretty much iced it pretty well. And let me give you a little comparison. Hold on. Let's put some context around this. Here we go. This would be another example of an entry-level radio, and here it is. Now, I'm not throwing shade because this was the MOA. This is the MOA radio, and it's ready to fly, and it was functional, okay? It flew the craft. It had control of the gyro. No throttle lock. It had trim. No modes. I'm not actually sure what the other switch did. I think this one was the Reflex V2, and this one did nothing at all. Trim up and down. The stick movement's okay. The gyros, the gimbals rather, I made the reference. When I made the reference, I said, well, you know, for an entry-level radio, these are like the best gimbals I've ever felt. And I stand by that comment, and I'm bouncing it against these. Now, I'm trying not to throw shade on the FMS because this is a ready-to-fly radio. It's an entry-level radio. So the gimbals, they're functional, they're okay, but they don't feel anything like this, right? This feels... Okay, they're not AGO1s. I'm not going to lie and say they're AGO1s. But, you know, these feel like normal gimbals. Like, that's pretty normal. These are just superb. Oh, by the way, check out my black sticky ends. I put on the sticky 360s. I put those on my daily driver. They're kind of cool, right? I like them. It's just something different. Just decided I need a little change. You know, that's all. I don't have earrings like some of us, so I had to change my other jewelry on my radio. All right. So anyway, this is what I mean about an entry-level radio. And that's going back to Peter's comment. That's what he's saying. He's like, if you look at this as this little white one as an entry-level radio, they can get rid of the often pretty useless transmitter. So, you know, it's not useless in the context that it doesn't fly the plane. It does. The little white one flew the MOA just fine, but it didn't have all of the myriad of features that you get on an EdgeTX based model. You know, you get all of that Express LRS goodness. You get the ability, you guys, I can't possibly go through the list, but you know, you get unlimited models. You get setup options, timer options, telemetry options. You get a heli setup if you want that. You've got different flight modes. It's all there. This is the full implementation of EdgeTX, just like this one. Except it's a smaller screen, black and white radio, and a slightly smaller form factor. That's it. But the functionality is all there. So that's what was so shocking about this radio to me when I did the review and got it out of the box. Now, am I going to fly with it? Probably not. You know, I might put a plane on it here or there. You know, I don't know. But that's the thing about this radio that's so shocking. And for me, as you guys well know, because I literally end every single video I make with the phrase, go fly something. It's to make the hobby more approachable, to encourage people to go fly, go try, go fly, you know, get out there. And I'm very strong in the aspect of community, trying to find ways to help bring technology to the community, make the tech approachable. And that's, to me, is what I love about what Radio Master did with this radio. They made it more approachable for people who are just getting started. And I remember, you know, you first get started, you got to buy batteries, you got to buy the plane, you got to buy this thing called an ESC, you got to buy a balance charger, you got to buy a discharger, you got to buy a toolbox to carry it all. You need some drivers, you know, you need a couple spare props. It gets ridiculous. You know, when you first get started, you got to buy all this stuff and it gets expensive. So if you can reduce this outlay from $199 or say, you know, $329, if you go for maybe a Mark II with AGO1s, down to $64, and you've got all the same features, yeah, you can use this for a year, right? Before you have to worry about upgrading. That's the point. And that's what I think is so amazing about this little radio. I think the one big miss, and I did ask the question, was why not size it for the mini AGO1s? I mean, you know, that's the one. I was really surprised about that, to be frank. You know, like I said, oh, can this take the AGO1 minis? Because I didn't have any mini AGO1s nearby to test. So I just asked, and he said, nope, it doesn't fit. So that, to me, is like the one big hardware miss on this whole thing, because that would have really been cool. You could have taken a $64 radio and spent almost twice as much on gimbals and had a real class act. I think AG01 minis in there would have been great. Now, who knows? Maybe they'll come up with AG01 nanos. I don't know. Maybe they will. But I thought that would have been cool. That to me was like the one big hardware miss on this radio is no AG01 minis. But maybe they'll come up with the AG01 nanos or something to that effect. Who knows? Okay, let's get back to the blackboard because we're still cruising through this. But great comment, Peter. Thank you. And this one, Faris Gadena. I don't know. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. I apologize. He says only 250 milliwatts. This actually turned into a good conversation. And I said, well, first off, it's just an entry-level radio. Second, for line of sight, you just don't need it. I hate answering questions like that. To be honest with you, though, guys, I got to be honest with you. I hate saying you don't need it. Who am I to tell you what the hell you don't need? It's not my business. If you think you need 1,000, fine. It's not my business if you don't. But if you want 1,000, there is a path to it by adding an external nano module, right? That's the cool part. But 250 milliwatts, the way I read that, yes, it is 250 milliwatts, so there's a limit. But let's talk about the practical reason, and that's because they use passive cooling. Maybe that was to help keep the cost down. I mean, it's $64. How much room do you have to wiggle around? You know what I mean? So that's probably why. But yes, 250 milliwatt limit on this one. But if you do like the form factor and you want to go to a higher output level, you can do that simply by adding an external nano. Hold on a second. I had the nano handy. That's another one I didn't actually show in the video, but why not? So here's the nano module. And if I go in, let's just, for argument's sake, I will hit page left, and I'm going to go under setup. We're going to turn the internal off. So there goes internal, that's off. And now on the external, I'm going to set that one to CRSF. Now I'm just going to turn that off for a second. I'm going to slide the nano module on the back. I'll put the T out of the way there. Let's just slide that little guy right there on the back, and we'll turn it on.
Welcome to EdgeTX.
Throttle warning. I'm looking for power. There's the power on the nano. Okay, so now if I go into system and express LRS, let's see here. Let's just see for a second what's going on here. Oh, look at that. Max power. Interesting. I don't know how that got in there. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But yeah, so if you want more power, it's a pretty simple upgrade to do it, right? There's 1,000, right? Power set to dynamic. I'm sorry you guys had to see me cheating the system with 2,000 a little bit. I think this is one I did the testing on. I would never fly with this kind of power level because I never fly past the tree line that I can see visually with my own eyes. Of course, never. So anyway, there you go. You can get it if you want it. It's there. Simple upgrade. So this is what I said earlier. If that's meaningful to you, getting 1,000 watts, then get the CC2500 and add an external nano because it fits in there just fine. It fits in there, no problems. There you go. Okay. All right, back to the blackboard, and I'm going to check comments a little bit here. Mark Morgan, I'm truly grateful for the Mo I won from you and FMS. Cool, but I definitely need that radio because the one it came with is kind of pretty, no comment. It's very basic, but it will fly the plane, right? It will fly the plane. Hobie, if I did get the second TX16S for $79, I'd be seriously considering the Pocket. If I didn't get, the Pocket, Love the AG01s, man. The AG01s are awesome. I think radio would be great. 30,000 sub giveaway. Which radio, Robert? Are you talking about? The Pocket? 30,000. Yeah, we're getting close. Can I get a channel of 7? Okay. Let's see. At least they upgraded the batteries to 18650s. Yeah, I know. That was no comment. No comment. The idea of using smaller than 18650s, I think, is not great. So 18650s are definitely better, much more available out there for sure. Let's see. You saw it here first, guys. Okay. All right, that's it. So let's move on to the next one. And the next question is number 9. I just got this is from I think it's Re. I can't tell anymore because YouTube did something stupid with the names. You see how they read. This is what you see in comments now. It's really ignorant. But anyway, I just got the PNP 67-inch laser 260, red or yellow. By the way, the yellow 60-inch is on sale for $319. Just throwing that out there. Go to Extreme Flight, $319 on sale right now for a 60-inch laser 260. That's a nice airplane. The laser 260 with quick disconnect on the servos and the fuselage and the wing. What a joy to not have to decide and install the components. No doubt, man. Amen. It's already done by the factory in the aerobatic balsa plane Yahoo. Not only that, but the hardware selection was not, it was made by people who fly the freaking plane. That was evident to me the first time I flew the 67-inch laser. Very evident to me, decided by the people who actually fly the plane. Now we just have to look forward to a PNP RXR or larger than a 67-inch aerobatic balsa plane and designing the horizontal and vertical feathers to be screwed on like some manufacturers done with foam planes. Yeah, I think that's an interesting take, right? Maybe that's something that we could expect to see soon on the RXR. And really, I think it depends on how well the RXRs take off. But yeah, I agree. If they can figure out a way to make those stabilizers in the back removable. And by the way, they are on the bigger planes. On the bigger planes, they are quick removable. They have quick releases. You can pull them off. So it has been done. It can be done. So I agree. I think for me, I think we're seeing something here, like kind of the future of the pre-built model space. And that's, for Extreme Flight, that 67-inch RXR, man, that is a segment turning arrangement. I'm just telling you guys, I'm predicting. All right, and that brings us back to question number 1, which means we are wrapped up with Q&A. I'm going to check the comments one more time, and then we are going to wrap this one up. Let's see. After using the sticky 360s, you can't go back. Yeah, I actually have given some of those away, but I never flew with them, partly because I like the way the AG01 gimbals looked. But I decided, like I said, I needed some new jewelry. Just want to try something different. All right. I think that's it on the questions. So that brings us up to what's coming up. Obviously, what's coming up is the Maiden for that bad boy. Can't wait. That was an absolutely beautiful airplane. Spectacular. I cannot wait to fly that plane. I am so looking forward to flying it. I really want to go fly it tomorrow. I could go fly it tomorrow. I just don't have anyone to film it. So I'm kind of tempted. Maybe I'll just go fly one of the big planes like the 85-inch NG, maybe the 78-inch NG. Who knows? Maybe the 540 Edge. I haven't flown that one in a while. Maybe I'll get that one back out again. So maybe I'll just go do that and then save the 67-inch extra 260 for when I can have a cameraman to witness whatever happens on the Maiden. But that is coming up. And I told you guys at the beginning that I had something kind of special that it was going to be a world first. Nobody else knows about this. And I'm going to bring up the big camera and show you, because to my knowledge, there is only one other human being that is aware of this, and I will be saving his contact information for later, because before I do anything, I want to see it work. And here's what's going on. This is a Pico board. It's an Arduino Pico RP2070, 2040. It's a 2040 RP2040. And it's flashed with a firmware called OXS, which is an open source sensor firmware. And the idea is that this board is able to, with the firmware, to output or to convert CRSF to 16 channels of PWM. So the bottom line here is that I've got you guys know I work with PCBWay, right? So I've got the circuit board design, and it's from my contact, whose name will remain nameless at this point in time, because I'm not going to release that information until I get this working. But this board basically solders on to the expander board, and we're looking at 16 channels of PWM. With that, it's OXS sensor firmware, open source. Okay, so there we go. That's coming up. Now my order is in with PCBWay. They already have my order. I expect 5 circuit boards. And when I get the 5 circuit boards, I got 2 of these RP 2070s. Why can't I say that right? 2040s. I've got 2 of these, so I'll be building 2 of them and trying them out. And if they work, I'll figure out what we'll do about distribution and finding a way to make these available to you guys. But 16 channels of output. And here's the cool part. You can use Express LRS with CRSF in to the converter, and then you can output PWM and you can output S-Bus. So you could literally put, you know, some mix of channels on S-Bus and some mix of channels on PWM if you want. Of course, Express LRS has its limits at 16 channels. Keep that in mind. But it's kind of a science fair project, to be honest with you. So once I get it working and I'll test it, I'll put it on something I don't mind risking. I'll try and fly it and see what happens. But this is kind of an exciting little project where we're looking at 16 channels of PWM output on a Express LRS receiver. So hang tight on the channel. That is coming up. And let's see. I think, oh, there is one other, I can't say what it is because it's a new release model airplane that's on its way inbound. So when that plane gets here, obviously I'll do the first look and the maiden on that. But there is a new release aircraft inbound that we'll be getting hopefully pretty soon. I don't know when they're going to ship them. I think it's going to ship pretty soon, but that'll be on the way as well. So I'm going to take one last look at comments, and then we're going to get going. We're going to wrap it up. I'll do some testing for you, says Hobie. Okay. All right. Done deal. Discord. Yeah, get on Discord. 37 watching, 37 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Hit the like button. Definitely appreciate that. Props off. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. Let's see. Thanks, Robert. Hey, props. That's it. All right. No other comments. I think we've finished it up, fellas. Steven says OXS sounds fun and helpful. Yeah, kind of interesting. What brand airplane? We'll see, Hobie. We'll see. That shall remain nameless at this point. It's inbound, though, pretty soon. I would take all of my props off, but I already cut all my fingers, and I can't. Some people wondered if Dave lost his fingers due to a prop accident, but he did not. He was born that way. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the session tonight. I had a good time hanging out with you on Friday night. Went kind of long tonight, almost hour and a half. So good session. I had a good time. I hope you did as well. Be on the lookout for the maiden on the Extra 260. Can't wait to do that. And don't forget, next weekend, there's going to be a lot of flying. I'm just saying, man, a lot of flying. So 12th, 13th, if you're in the area, you know, or if you want to make a trip, Lark's RC Club. Don't forget, you have to have an active AMA card. You have to bring it with you. If you don't have that, you can't fly. It's just the way it is. You got to bring an AMA card. But if you do, you can come and visit from out of town, and our club accepts visitors. You can fly at our field if you have an AMA card. All right. I hope you enjoyed the content. I don't know if YouTube's going to recommend another video for you right about now or not. It probably won't because I have to do that. It's all in post, blah, blah, blah. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Get out there and fly something. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.